Hello folks, I'm John Myrie and welcome to the Wisconsin Northland Outdoors. On this week's show we have reports and tips for you from Jarrett McCarthy down at Hayward Bait and Bottle, and then we talk ice fishing with Hayward Area Fishing Guide Haze Barnaby and also with Hayward Area Fishing Guide Erik Thue. Lots to cover on this week's show, all coming up right after these messages.
Save on your new Polaris snowmobile with a holiday sales event at Hayward Power Sports. Most remaining 2024 models offer rebates up to $2,000 or financing as low as 1.99% for 36 months, plus a 2-year promotional warranty. From relaxing two-up trail cruising to aggressive trail attacking, we have your machines. Meanwhile, the new 2025 Polaris Indy XCR features the new 9R Patriot engine for unbeatable response and acceleration. Get your new Polaris sled today at Hayward Power Sports, just 10 minutes east of Hayward on Highway 77.
Riding along in my automobile.
Bumping into things unexpectedly? Make your first choice for collision repair. Ernie's Auto Body, featuring the most advanced collision repair facility in Northwest Wisconsin. With a state-of-the-art spray, bake down, draft paint booth for that better-than-new finish, laser technology for precision frame alignment, loaner cars available, computerized estimates, written guarantees, and documented unmatched customer service, the clear choice is Ernie's Auto Body, south of Hayward on Highway 63 and Nursery Road, where quality is no accident.
Lynn's Custom Meats and Catering welcomes you to stop by for their great lunch menu, and while you're there, Lynn's also has a great selection of custom-cut meats and sausages, as well as many varieties of snack sticks, jerky, fresh cheese curds, and much more. Lynn's is open Mondays through Fridays from 9 to 5:30 and 9 to 4 on Saturdays. Lynn's Custom Meats and Catering in Hayward.
Today, anglers fish longer. Today, anglers fish harder. Today, anglers rely more than ever on their electronics. It all comes down to catching more fish, and today, anglers rely on Amped Outdoors lithium batteries, period. Visit ampedoutdoors.com today to power your outdoor experience.
We're down at Hayward Bait and Bottle talking to Jarrett McCarthy down here, and Jarrett, we're really starting to make some ice out there. We did finally get a little bit of snow, too.
Yeah, I tell you what, it is nice to finally have a regular winter. Have some really good ice out there. You got a little bit of snow that just came down over the past day or two. Got some good traction now over there. So, yeah, now all we're doing is waiting to get back out fishing.
What are you hearing for reports on ice thickness out there?
So ice thickness, I'm hearing anywhere from 12 to 16 inches right now. Got a lot of guys that are getting out on UTVs, ATVs, just starting to barely see a couple trucks out there. I still wouldn't recommend it. I still think we're probably about a week or two away from being that really comfortable ice thickness or what have you. And we've got the weather coming for it too. We've got a handful of days that are coming up that are supposed to be single-digit highs and, double-digit negatives for lows. So even with a little bit of snow that's on the ice, it'll definitely make some more ice.
As far as the fishing, are you hearing anything on the walleye stuff out there?
I'm not hearing much on the walleyes anymore. Now that we got that snow cover on the ice and the little bit of light penetration that we had coming through is going to be covered up, I would expect a lot of those fish to start moving a little bit deeper. Guys that are getting them, they're still getting them on set lines and they're getting them up on jigging, but they're setting out in a little bit deeper water now, probably anywhere from 18 to 25 foot deep.
When you start getting that deeper water, and it's not just tip-ups, then you can start jig fishing them a little bit more because they're not quite as spooky as they were early ice.
Bingo, yep. And I mean, we've had a lot of people running around on machines and a lot of people walking on ice. And without any snow up there and, without that clear ice, any kind of little bit of movement or drilling holes or anything, those are going to displace fish. So now that we got a little bit of snow cover to help kind of muffle the sounds that we've got coming up top, the fish should get a lot less spooky. And that's not just walleyes, that's everything out there.
And talking about other fish, I know quite a few people fish for the pike through the ice. That's been pretty good. It's one of the better things out there, actually.
It's been awesome this year, as far as numbers and as far as size. We've seen some really nice pike being caught this year, with anglers being able to get out to some of these main lake pieces of structure that we really haven't been able to over the last couple of years. And, we've seen a couple of 40 plus inchers, and we're seeing a lot of people that are taking some pike home for the dinner plate.
And let's talk a little bit about the panfish. What's going on there?
So as far as crappies go, most of the fish are out there right now. They're basin related, so they are cruising at that too. So most guys are going to be looking anywhere from 20 to, we've seen them in 40, 50 feet of water, as of late or what have you. And that's good and bad. Those fish that are out roaming in the basins or what have you, they're pretty easy to spot on live scope. They're pretty easy to find with XR or what have you. But the only part that stinks about pulling these fish out of that really, really deep water is that they are not going to release. So if you're going to go fish for those crappies or anything out of deep water of that sort, go out there, get your limit, and then stop fishing them. Because if you're out there just to catch and release or what have you, a lot of those fish that you're going to release are going to go belly up and they're going to die underneath the ice. So make sure that you are being responsible out there with the fish that you're catching, and don't take more than you need. There are still fish that are sitting up on those shallower weed lines so you can go out and target, in those 10 to 15 foot of water zones where they'll release really, really easily. But those fish that are out there, hovering in that really, really deep water, that's a struggle for them.
Well, especially, I always say 25 feet and beyond, definitely. But watch them. I've seen them at 15, 18 feet do it. And you can kind of tell, too, we're looking at them, they come up, they're real kind of stiff and rigid, and their mouth is open, and, they just are not going to release those fish. And, you may think you're only keeping a limit of 10, for instance, but it doesn't do any good if you throw 25 or 30 of them that die underneath the ice, too. So, it's not a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Just being responsible with those fish, especially bigger fish. There are a handful of lakes out in the area that have some really big fish that are sitting in deep water right now. And if you're out there trophy fishing to, run, catch, and release, I can't imagine a sicker feeling than catching a 15, 16-inch crappie just to put it back and knowing that fish isn't going to make it. So, yeah, definitely be responsible with those fish. But as far as what those fish are hitting on, a lot of guys fishing at deeper water, they like a little bit of spoon action with some bigger tungsten spoons. That'll help you get down on those fish really, really fast when you mark them. And then for those fish that are being a little fussier, those smaller tungsten jigs, tip of the waxier of plastic, those kind of baits have been shining lately.
How about bluegills? Are you hearing anything there?
Yeah, hearing some on bluegills. A lot of gills that are still being caught up in 10, 20 feet of water. A lot of guys still out fishing weeds and some structures such as cribs or what have you. But guys seem like they're hunkering down there waiting for gills to come through, and those are all just small jigs and waxies and what have you. But seeing some really nice gills being caught this winter.
And as far as harvest on either one of them, don't just selectively pick out the big fish and sit out there and catch a bunch of fish. And you're going to have some mortality anyhow, even catch and release. And don't sit out there and say, I'm only going to keep the 10, 11, 12-inch fish and throw back a lot of other ones.
Yeah, with crappies, those 8 to 11s, those are your perfect
and
eating
bluegills,
size.
7 to 9.
Yeah, yep, your bluegills, it's probably about 7 to 8.5 or what have you. But after you start getting, beyond that 8.5, 9 with bluegills, those are your big bulls that are protecting the nests in the spring that you really want to see go back. And as far as crappies go, you really want to see those 11.5, 12s go back just to keep those good genetics in the lakes or what have you. But, those younger fish taste better anyways, those 7 to 8.5-inch bluegills and those 8 to 11-inch crappies. You're not quite hurting the genetics in the lake as much. And I understand that everybody wants to go out there and they want to keep the biggest limit of fish that they have. But, you're not really getting that much more meat off of a 9-inch bluegill than you are an 8-inch bluegill. Maybe,
a bite.
Yeah, a bite. And if you're keeping your limit of, 10 to 25 gills, one little bite is not going to make the biggest difference.
And that's something we really got to start thinking about, because we've just gotten the equipment, the gear, and not to mention the sonar. We're just getting more effective at catching fish. Speaking of that, gear and equipment, you guys are geared up down here. You've got everything they could possibly need for ice fishing, and even looking at for next spring when the open water is only not a couple months, 3 more months away for whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. We still got some shacks, still got some augers, still got some electronics down here at the shop. Running a sale on a handful of those units still, so make sure you stop on by and ask us what we got going on. And even as of today, we're starting to work on our spring set, so we understand that there's almost 2 feet of ice out there right now, but yeah, that open water season is not far away, and we're excited. No matter what time of the year or what kind of fishing it is, we're ready to roll down here.
I can't wait for the open water myself anyway. I mean, I'll ice fish, but I'd much prefer being in a boat.
Hell yeah, absolutely.
Jared, well, thank you for coming on here.
Well, thanks for having me again, John.
Well, folks, we need to take a break right now and hear from some of the fine sponsors that make this show possible every week. When we come back, we'll be talking to Hayward Area Fishing Guide Haze Barnaby about ice fishing. So stay tuned. We'll be back right after these messages. Hunters and anglers, Hayward Bait and Bottle is your one-stop sport and bottle shop in Hayward. They have a huge selection of ice fishing gear, including portable shelters, power augers, electronics, beaver dam tip-ups, ice rods, and just about anything you'll need for ice fishing. They also have archery supplies, bows, crossbows, muzzle loaders, ammo, and much more to help you enjoy the outdoors. While you're there, check out the bottle shop for a full selection of beer, wine, and liquor, too. Hayward Bait and Bottle is your one-stop sport and bottle shop.
The Hayward Lakes Visitors and Convention Bureau in Sawyer County, Wisconsin welcomes you to our Northwoods hometown. No matter the season, no matter the activity, you'll always be surrounded by our great outdoors. What more could you ask for in a vacation destination? Woods, waters, world-class events. Contact us for information on lodging, dining, attractions, events, trail conditions, and more. Order your free vacation guide and start planning your getaway today. Visit us at haywardlakes.com or call 1-800-724-2992.
You wanna get outdoors, you wanna have some fun.
A new Can-Am side-by-side is the perfect companion for all seasons. Hayward Powersports still has an awesome selection of new 2024s, and they currently offer rebates up to $2,000 or 2.99% financing for 36 months. If you like the creature comforts, the very popular Can-Am Defender Limited HD10 offers a $1,500 rebate to go along with its full cab, including heat and AC. Looking for a value price machine? The Can-Am Defender XT HD7 features a winch, roof, front bumper, and full skid plate. With a $1,500 rebate, it's all yours for just $14,899. Maybe you need a little more muscle. Unleash the power of the Can-Am Defender XT HD9 or 10 with $1,500 rebates. With the money you save, you can outfit your new Can-Am with a plow, cab accessories, and so much more. Your new all-season companion is waiting at Hayward Powersports, just 10 minutes east of Hayward on Highway 77.
Certain restrictions apply. Subject to credit approval. See your dealer for details.
Welcome back to another segment of this week's Wisconsin Northland Outdoors, and this part of the show is brought to you by the Hayward Lakes Visitor and Convention Bureau. For more information on lodging and vacationing here in the Hayward Lakes area, check out their website at haywardlakes.com. Well, folks, you know, one of the guides that get on here from time to time is Hayward Area Fishing Guide Haze Barnaby. Had a chance to talk to Haze on the phone the other day about ice fishing here in northern Wisconsin and a few destination places that a lot of people head for in the wintertime. Haze, good to have you on the show here again.
Yeah, thanks for having me, John.
You know, the ice conditions this year are some of the best we've had for, last couple of years anyhow. I mean, we've got great ice, and we keep making ice right now, it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking great for the rest of the winter. Hopefully soon we can get a little bit more snow sticking to the top of that ice. But I would say on an average, we're looking at about 10 to 12 inches, if not more. So ice is looking good. Fishing's been pretty good as of late. So, yeah. Hopefully get a little snow in the near future.
Yeah, a lot of people seem to be going out ice fishing. It seems like a number of people.
Yeah, I mean, too, with the lack of snow, the foot travel has been, pretty consistent throughout the ice season so far. So that also helps with, when people don't have machines. But yeah, ATVs, side-by-sides. So no, I don't think there's any trucks going out yet. But yeah, it's good.
Yeah, around here, I mean, we've got great pan fishing. The walleye fishing's pretty good, but we've got great pan fishing, and we've got some really good fishing for pike. And it seems like a lot of people are fishing for the pike.
Yeah, an abundance of pike. The crappie fishing, I went crappie fishing a couple weeks ago, and the fish were pretty slow. You had to downsize on your plastics and your tungstens, but, you could still get a couple of bites out of the school and take some home for a fish fry. So
I wonder what makes it slower like that. Too much food in the water for them, I wonder, or something still yet?
Oh, maybe cold fronts or barometric pressure swings, stuff like that. But there's always a way to get them to bite.
I know a few people find some smallmouth through the ice, too, sometimes.
Yeah, if you know where some cribs are on some of these clear lakes, that's a good place to start for the smallmouth. But they're very lethargic in the wintertime. They move very slow. They're just kind of a little bit slower moving fish, compared to a walleye or a northern or, panfish when they're fired up, but they still got the fight like they do in the summertime when you get them to bite.
Well, there's a lot of good fishing opportunities here, and we've got if you want to go a little ways, you got to, travel a little bit. We've got Chequamegon Bay, and they're getting out on that now, I'm hearing, and that's some good fishing up there. Yeah, you make several trips, too, don't you, different places?
Yeah, I mean, once the bay's frozen, John, honestly, I'm up there more than just about anywhere. There's phenomenal clear ice up there. I don't think there's really much going on at the tip of Long Island yet, but by like the S curves and off Second Landing, there's plenty of ice, and I believe some guys fishing around Holton Point too. So it looks like the bite's starting to fire up there as well.
A lot of people think about that's trout and salmon fishery, but there's a lot more than that in that bay.
I mean, the most fun, I've said it forever, about Chequamegon Bay is you never know what you're going to catch. I mean, you could catch anything from a walleye, perch, northern, salmon, trout, burbot, sturgeon. I mean, it's, smelt. You can jig smelt with small panfish stuff. That's what we do for Laker bait. But it's a very special place up there.
Well, that's a big water. Anytime you're dealing with big water, whether it's the big lakes in Minnesota or Dakotas or the Schwalmget Bay, there's some things a person should be really cognizant of, aware of, things like pressure cracks and in places where you might, stumble across a strip of open water out there even.
Yeah, I mean, the pressure cracks is the biggest thing that gets people. I know, like over on Mille Lacs in Minnesota over there, they have obviously a great big body of water and massive cracks, but they have bridges, and I saw a picture on Facebook of a guy dumped a pickup through a pressure crack, and you could see the bridge, but right behind the picture. So as long as if you're driving the trucks out there, just, stick with those bridges going across the cracks and you're good. That's some good walleye fishing over that neck of the brush too.
It's a good idea on any of the bigger water that you go on, either snowmobiling or driving with, especially with the vehicle, to stick to the roads. Don't try wandering off on your own. Yeah.
Right. Can get very expensive very fast.
You bet. And let's talk about some of the places that you go besides Schwalmget Bay. I know you make a few trips every year. You go over to Mille Lacs and some of the places in Minnesota and Dakotas. And I know we've got people around here in northern Wisconsin here that listen to the radio show that make, fishing trips to different places too.
Yeah, I mean, I like Mille Lacs. That's a good place to fish if you're looking for, those trophy walleyes. And you can get into some numbers. Lake of the Woods is also a really, really good time for a good number of fish and then possibilities of, a 30-incher. But the place that I enjoy the most fishing through the ice is Devil's Lake out there in North Dakota. It's 7 hours away from Hayward, Wisconsin, and is the best ice fishing that I've ever seen for walleyes. And you can catch fish literally in 6 feet of water. You can catch them in 33 feet of water. We were just out there for the past few days and did pretty good on walleyes. Like I said, the shallowest we caught fish was 6 or 8, and the deepest that we caught fish was 33. The name of the game out there is just cover a lot of water and keep moving. And my favorite bait over there is a rattling spoon. Just a lot of fish, a lot of fun, and it's definitely worth the drive to Devil's Lake.
Seems like when you've got really high fish populations like that, they get real competitive. So so whichever fish gets to your bait the quickest sometimes, it seems like.
Yeah, when we were jigging, I got a live scope in the ice shack, and at one time I counted fish on my spoon and a fish on my buddy's spoon that they were going to, try and bite. And then I counted 8 other fish underneath those 2 fish. So just to have, a lake like that with a super high population of fish, there's just that many more opportunities to catch fish and just have more fun. Like around Hayward, a lot of people like to tip up fish out there. You can catch so many on your jig rod that, you know what I mean? It's kind of nice to get a change of pace on catching fish from a tip up to a jig rod.
And that's a big water, though. Give people a perspective. We talk about the Chippewa flowage here, but, how many acres is that thing? Do you have any idea?
So the Chippewa flowage, I believe,
is like 15 or 16,000, but I'm talking about
16.
Devil's
Lake is 134,000, I believe.
Wow. And a lot of shoreline, and it's mostly shallower water too, isn't it, over there?
Yeah, it's pretty shallow. A lot of it's just flooded farm fields. So I mean, the soil out there is phenomenal, and they have, the freshwater shrimp that I see in panfish when you clean them, and walleyes that the meat and the fish has almost got a pink hue to it. It's pretty interesting, and it's phenomenal fish. So, yeah.
What kind of tips can you give people that want to make trips to places like that as far as, finding fish and, where to go, what to do, that type of thing, and baits, lures?
So what I'll say first is look into hiring a guide. 135,000 acre lake is a lot. It can be intimidating. And for the amount that I've fished out there the past couple of years and the amount that I do fish, just as a whole, you have to work very hard to get on those really, really good bites, where you're catching 20, 30 walleyes, in a total day. Don't be afraid to hire a guide. You always learn a lot from the guides and, about the new area and what to look for when you go back. The second thing is, like I said before, fish are in 6 feet or they could be in 30 feet. So a lot of it is just being efficient with moving around, and don't stick to an area too long unless you're marking a lot of fish type thing. So moving around and being efficient with your time is, I mean, that's a good tip for anywhere. But out there, it really pays off because there's just a lot of fish.
Your tip on a guide thing is pretty much a good tip for people on any strange body of water. I mean, even people that fish all the time, fishing guides and pro anglers, can spend a lot of time trying to zero in on where the best fishing is on a new lake.
100%. And I mean, when you're driving 7 hours, like, that's a lot, and it doesn't take a lot to make a trip go bad type thing. So when you hire that guide, you're getting the knowledge, you're getting the information, you're getting future information to do it by yourself next time or whenever you want to. But hiring a fishing guide is a phenomenal decision regardless. And do some digging on them too. Make sure, they know what they're doing. They're full-time guide type thing. So you really get your money's worth, and then, pay attention to what they're doing, their jigging cadences, how they're breaking down water and what to look for. And it's, it'd be a good time.
A good guide is a teacher, I think.
Yes, 110%.
Yeah. Well, when we talk about some of these trips, we've got people, no matter where, we've got people here that go to, Lake of the Woods. They go different places fishing when they want to take off and go something different. But right around here, we still, like I said, earlier in this conversation, we've got some pretty good fishing around here, too. It all depends what you want to go fish for.
We 100% do. Our walleye fishing is great. We are talking about two different spectrums with, the North Dakota and here. There's nothing wrong with our fishing here. That's just a little treat that I like to do. But you can go out and catch walleyes, crappies, everything under the sun here on all of your local lakes in Hayward. I mean, we're blessed to have what we have in our backyard.
That's one of the things about boats and boat trailers. If you got wheels underneath it, or you got a snowmobile or an ATV, that's the biggest thing. I see people make a mistake of fishing and just staying on one body of water all the time. And even if you're not going to, say, Minnesota or Lake of the Woods or going to the Dakotas, I mean, be more versatile and travel around and check out some of the surrounding waters in your own area.
Yeah, 100%.
Hayes, it's been interesting talking to you here. You want to give out some tips if everybody's looking for a guide trip for bass? I know you pretty much specialize in bass mostly in the summertime.
Yeah, we'll do some bass and maybe some walleye stuff in June or whenever. I've kind of been dipping my toes into the walleye stuff. You can reach me at 715-558-5392. That is Haze with Barnaby's Guide Service out of Hayward, Wisconsin.
Well, thanks a lot, Hayes, for taking the time with our listeners here.
Not a problem, John. Thanks for the call.
Well, folks, we need to take in another break and hear from even more of the fine sponsors that make this show possible every week. When we come back, we'll be talking ice fishing for whitefish with Hayward Area Fishing Guide Erik Thue. So stay tuned. We'll be back right after these messages. Hey folks, come on over to Hayward Ace Hardware and check out the area's largest selection of firearms, ammo, and accessories. We carry top brands like Browning and Sig Sauer, and we have a great selection of the newest and hard-to-find models. We've got a large selection of ammo with more coming in daily. If you need a scope, we carry great brands like Leupold, Hawk, and EOTech, and we'll even mount it and bore-sight it for you too. We even sell suppressors and silencers. And don't forget to check out our Guns of the Week. Huge discounts on a variety of pistols, rifles, and shotguns that change every week. So stop on in to Hayward Ace Hardware, your firearms superstore. Hayward Ace Hardware, Highway 63 North in Hayward, or give us a call at 715-634-8700.
Hayward Animal Hospital is a full-service medical and surgical hospital featuring on-site laboratory, digital and dental x-ray, in-house pharmacy, and online store. Dr. Ostrander has 40 years of experience dealing with illnesses, injuries, surgery, and dentistry. Hayward Animal Hospital offers urgent care appointments and emergency surgery daily. Please call early in the day for these appointments. They open at 8 a.m. Hayward Animal Hospital is located 1 mile east of Hayward on Highway B. Call 715-634-8971.
Hey folks, the Log Cabin Store in Northwoods Beach on Highway K between the Big Lakes has groceries, ice, beer, liquor, and pop, and now has all new tackle and bait supplies. All current antiques and household items are now on sale and all must go to make room for the sport shop. That's at the Log Cabin Store in Northwoods Beach between the big lakes. If you'd like to have your time fishing be more enjoyable and productive, hiring a fishing guide can be a good investment. Whether it's learning more about fish patterns throughout the year, learning how to use your depth finder to find the best spots and fish, learn how to use that GPS to get the most out of it, or learn better boat control. A day on the water with a guide can really help you to be a better angler, as well as make a day on the lake very enjoyable. To book a guide trip this year or get more information, you can find us on the internet at www.wiscnorthlandoutdoors.com, and then just click on Area Guides. Welcome back to the last segment of this week's Wisconsin Northland Outdoors. And folks, you know, one of the guides I get on here quite often is Hayward area fishing guide Erik Thue. Had a chance to talk to Erik, and he offered some great tips on ice fishing for whitefish. Erik, you know, most people head out ice fishing there after walleyes, northern pike, panfish, but you know, we had a few lakes that have whitefish in them, and that's a really interesting thing to go after in the winter.
Yeah, as many of your listeners know, that Lake Superior, the big lake, has an outstanding population, but we don't have to drive that far to be able to get into some whiteys, and they're a fun fish. They're kind of the poor man's lake trout, as some might call them. They chase a bait for many feet from whether it's the bottom or the depths, and they'll chase it for 6+ feet before they hammer it, and they can be really active, and they can also be really touchy though too.
Well, yeah, and usually you're fishing deeper for them though, right?
Yeah, so generally approaching, if you're decided to go out and do a little bit of whitefish fishing, that 50 to 60 foot range is kind of what we strive for. If you're looking at a contour map, some of the biggest things I look for is what's leading up to that flat. So it might be a really steep break where those fish are going to run that steep break back and forth, and we're fishing the flat specifically. You might be able to slide up on the edges of those a little bit more by drilling extra holes and really getting a spot dialed in. I'll also look for other just even little points, that might come out, even if it is 45 feet of water where that point is. That's still an area where these fish are going to travel and use to feed, and it's not a ton of science to it, but you got to keep moving. And you're fishing deep water.
Any particular type of baits or presentations?
So starting off the bat, smaller spoons, anything from like a Swedish pimple to some of your heavier flutter type spoons, some of the clam like pinhead minnows, any smaller crappie style spoon realistically is kind of what you want for a size. So we don't want to go too big into like the walleye size. We want to stick in that crappie size, something with a little weight, because it's, you got to get down there. You got to get down deep a lot of times. I'll also utilize a lot of tungsten crappie jigs. So something that you're typically tipping with like waxies or spikes or plastics. It can get down deep. Sometimes they just want a smaller presentation. A lot of times what an angler can do is they'll have their spoon, and then they're going to have maybe like a teaser up top or something to seal the deal, and that might be a real small crappie sized treble hook. It might be a lead jig or even a plain hook, and we're loading that up with spikes or waxies or even a plastic if they're active enough. And what that spoon is allowing you to do, or whatever your bottom bait is, you're trying to attract and call those fish in. So it might be a rattle spoon, it could be a glow spoon, but you're calling those fish in. As you raise that spoon up, they may not want that big meal, and they're going to see though that pile of waxies or spikes, and they're going to go up and hit that elevated treble hook or single hook or whatever you use as that bait to seal the deal. And that's usually overall, I think, about a 2 foot length leader. And I have my spoon or bottom, what I want to entice those fish to come in. And then, about a foot and a half up is right about where I have that rig to seal the deal.
Interesting. Yeah. You want to give out your guide information? Somebody's looking to get out?
Yeah, absolutely, John. They can reach me at 612-384-9127.
Well, folks, we're about out of time for this week's show. I'd like to remind everyone out there that if you miss a show, go to our website at wnoradio.com. From there, you can link to our podcast site, and the show is also on Spotify and Google Podcasts every week. And also, if you're looking for information on vacationing and lodging here in the Hayward Lakes area, check out the Hayward Lakes Visitor and Convention Bureau website at haywardlakes.com. Thanks for listening, folks. We're out of time, and we'll be back again next week with another interesting show for you.
Listen with me, I'm gonna take you there to our Wisconsin outdoors, our Wisconsin outdoors.
This program has been produced and hosted entirely by Wisconsin Northland Outdoor Communications.